Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a profoundly important piece of writing, Nanne Palkivala's 1994 article, The Ailing Planet, The Green Movement's Role. Now, what makes this text so absolutely captivating, even decades after it was written, is its central, striking metaphor. You see, Palkivala doesn't just talk about the Earth as a giant rock floating out there in space, he asks us to view the Earth as a patient. And unfortunately, it's a patient in rapidly declining health. So we're going to unpack exactly what the symptoms are, how we got here, and what the prescribed treatment must be.
Picture this. You're walking through a zoo in Lusaka, Zambia. You come across a cage with a huge sign that reads, "The world's most dangerous animal." But when you look inside, there's no fearsome, roaring beast. There's only a mirror. You are literally looking at yourself. It's a brilliant, if slightly uncomfortable, way to force us to confront a hard truth. But thanks to the efforts of environmental agencies globally, we are finally waking up to this reality, realizing we have to shift away from a system based purely on dominating the Earth and move toward a true partnership with it.
And this realization provides the ethical cure to our dangerous tendencies. Back in 1987, the World Commission on Environment and Development popularized a vital concept: sustainable development. The definition they came up with is both elegant and incredibly urgent. Development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. It's all about balance, It's about being responsible trustees of the legacy we're going to leave behind.
So here is our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. A holistic worldview. 2. Earth's vital signs decline. 3. The 4 biological systems. 4. The deforestation crisis. 5. The overpopulation factor. And finally, 6. The era of responsibility.
Section 1. A holistic worldview, a shift in perception.
This traces back to a fundamental cognitive shift in human history that really gained traction when the world's first nationwide Green Party was founded in New Zealand back in 1972. That paradigm shift changed absolutely everything. For the longest time, humanity operated under this mechanistic view, treating the world as just a machine, a dissociated collection of parts that we could exploit endlessly. But we've shifted, hopefully for good, toward a holistic and ecological view. We're finally beginning to see the Earth itself as a living organism with its own metabolic needs and vital processes that we absolutely must respect and preserve.
Palkivala emphasizes just how massive this change in thinking really is. He actually compares this modern ecological awakening to the Copernican revolution in the 16th century. Just as Copernicus completely upended our universe by proving the Earth revolved around the sun, this worldview completely changes our understanding of our place on this planet. We aren't the masters here. We are a dependent part of a much larger living system.
Section 2. Earth's vital signs decline. A patient in decline. If the Earth is our patient, it's time to check the medical chart. And unfortunately, the diagnosis is pretty alarming. We have to confront this chilling question posed by the First Brandt Commission, an early international body dealing with ecology. They asked, are we to leave our successors a scorched planet of advancing deserts, impoverished landscapes, and an ailing environment? It really forces us to stop and think about the direct legacy we are creating right this second.
Section 3. The 4 biological systems, foundation of the economy.
Let's look closely at the 4 pillars of our global economic system, which were brilliantly identified by the thinker Lester R. Brown in his book, The Global Economic Prospect. He points out that the Earth's principal biological systems are fourfold: fisheries, forests, grasslands, and croplands. Now, these aren't just nice environmental features to look at. They form the absolute foundation of the global economic system. Beyond supplying virtually all of our food, these 4 systems provide almost all the raw materials for human industry, with the exception of minerals and petroleum-derived synthetics.
So the crucial point is, what happens when human demands on these systems reach an unsustainable level? Well, the patient's health crashes, and the consequences are devastating. When their productivity is impaired, fisheries completely collapse, because overfishing has become so common in our protein-hungry world. Forests disappear, grasslands are converted into barren wastelands, and croplands deteriorate. We are quite literally bankrupting the biological systems that keep us alive.
Section 4. The deforestation crisis. Powerhouse of evolution.
Narrowing in on one highly visible symptom, the destruction of our tropical forests is causing countless species to face extinction. Just listen to this quote. What goes under the pot now costs more than what goes inside it. It perfectly captures the harsh, everyday reality of this crisis for millions of people. In many poor countries, local forests are being decimated just to procure firewood for cooking. The desperate need for fuel has made the wood to cook the food more expensive and scarce than the actual food itself.
And the sheer scale of this loss is staggering. James Spieth, the former president of the World Resources Institute, noted that we aren't just losing an acre a second. We are losing closer to 1.5 acres of forest every single second worldwide. Let that sink in. There's a profound saying that forests precede mankind, deserts follow. And at an acre and a half a second, we are sprinting toward the desert.
Looking at India specifically, the data is just as grim. Reliable data indicates India is losing forests at a rate of 3.7 million acres every single year. It's a catastrophic depletion. And what's deeply tragic about this is that Article 48A of the Constitution of India explicitly mandates that the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment, forests, and wildlife. Yet, as the text notes, laws are often neither respected nor enforced, allowing massive areas officially designated as forest land to become virtually treeless right under our noses.
Section 5. The overpopulation factor. Distorting the future.
All of the environmental strain we just discussed is amplified exponentially by what is arguably the strongest factor distorting the future of human society, the rapid, unchecked growth of the human population. The timeline reveals an explosive demographic shock. Think about this. It took mankind over 1 million years to reach the first billion people around the year 1800. By 1900, just a century later, we added a second billion. But look at the 20th century. We added 3.7 billion more. By the time Palkivala wrote this article in 1994, the population was estimated at 5.7 billion, increasing by 1 million people every 4 days.
This creates a vicious cycle. As Palkivala points out, development is the best contraceptive. We know for a fact that fertility falls as incomes rise, education spreads, and health improves. But here's the tragic paradox. Development itself might not even be possible if this massive increase in numbers continues. The rich get richer and the poor beget children, which condemns them to remain poor. Having more children doesn't mean you have more workers, it just means you have more people without work, which completely perpetuates poverty.
To really wrap your head around this, let's put this into a localized perspective. Based on the article's 1994 data, India's population was estimated at 920 million. That was more than the entire populations of Africa and South America combined. The article argues passionately that without an element of voluntary family planning and giving population control topmost priority, the hope of the people would die in their hungry hutments. The choice isn't about coercion, it's a choice between controlling population or perpetuating poverty.
Section 6. The era of responsibility. Survival of the planet. All of these critical symptoms, from the destruction of biological systems to explosive population growth, lead us to the final, necessary evolution of human ethics. For the very first time, our transcending concern isn't just the survival of the people, but the survival of the planet itself. And in this new era of responsibility, industry has a massive role to play. It requires a total transformation in corporate thinking. Take Mr. Edgar S. Woolard, the chairman of DuPont. Years ago, he famously declared himself not just CEO, but the company's chief environmental officer. He recognized that continued existence as a leading manufacturer requires excelling in environmental performance. It's no longer just about profit margins, folks. It's about planetary margins. Which brings us to the core philosophy of this entire responsibility. Margaret Thatcher brilliantly framed our existence with these words: "No generation has a freehold on this earth. All we have is a life tenancy, with a full repairing lease." We don't own the earth outright. We are just tenants. And as tenants, we have a strict legal and moral obligation to repair the damage we caused during our stay.
I'm going to leave you with this final profound thought from Lester Brown to linger on. He says, "We have not inherited this earth from our forefathers, we have borrowed it from our children." Think back to the ailing health of our patient today. If we are truly just borrowing this planet from the next generation, what kind of condition are we returning it in? Will it be a thriving, beautiful ecosystem or a scorched, impoverished landscape? The choice and the responsibility is entirely ours.